My best friend bought an old film camera from a flea market, and after what he sent me 2 nights ago, I haven't turned off the lights in my apartment even once. He used to say digital cameras miss things. At the time, I thought he was joking. Ethan had this weird obsession with old technology. Film cameras, cassette players, VHS tapes, anything outdated fascinated him. He claimed older devices captured things more honestly, like modern technology cleaned up details humans weren't supposed to notice. Most of us just laughed at him for it. Then he bought a camera from a flea market outside town. I still remember the first thing he said after getting it. "This thing feels wrong." I thought he meant broken. Now I'm not so sure. The camera looked ancient. Scratched metal body, cracked leather strap, and no company logo anywhere on it. Even the man selling it acted strange, apparently. Ethan told me the seller refused to touch the camera directly while handing it over. A few days later, Ethan convinced me to drive out to an abandoned motel near the woods so he could test it properly. The place was horrible. Not the dramatic haunted house kind of horrible either. Just abandoned in a way that felt too sudden. Half-eaten plates still inside some rooms, mold climbing the walls, family photos left behind. It looked like people had walked out one day and never returned. The deeper we explored, the quieter everything became. No birds, no wind, nothing. At one point, we found a room near the back of the motel with a huge standing mirror inside. The glass was cracked down the middle, but somehow still perfectly upright. Ethan got excited immediately. He started taking photos of everything. The walls, the stained mattress, the ceiling. Then he pointed the camera toward the mirror and suddenly froze. I remember laughing nervously and asking what happened, but he didn't answer at first. He just kept staring through the camera viewfinder without moving. After a few seconds, he slowly lowered the camera and looked at me. Did somebody just walk behind me? The way he asked that still makes my stomach tighten. Not curious, terrified. I told him no, because we were alone in that room. At least I thought we were. Ethan didn't say much after that. The drive home felt strange and quiet, and before I left, he asked me something completely out of nowhere. If there was someone standing behind me, you'd tell me, right? I laughed it off. I wish I hadn't. That night, Ethan sent me one of the developed photos, the mirror picture. At first, nothing looked unusual. Ethan stood in front of the mirror holding the camera while the motel room stretched behind him. Then I zoomed in and saw someone else in the reflection. Tall, out of focus, standing directly behind Ethan, its face hidden behind his shoulder. I called him immediately, but he tried brushing it off as a lighting issue. Still, his voice sounded shaky. Then he asked me something weird. "Do you think reflections can lag behind real life?" I didn't even know what that meant. After that call, Ethan stopped replying for almost an entire day. Then another. No texts, no calls, nothing. I started getting genuinely worried. Late on the second night, my phone buzzed with a new image from him. No message attached, just the photo. Same motel room, same mirror. Except this time, Ethan wasn't in the reflection anymore. Only the tall figure remained, and it looked closer now. Close enough that I could almost make out details. Long arms, bent neck, something wrong with the face. And written across the dusty mirror were the words, "Your turn." I called Ethan over and over again, straight to voicemail, every time. Then I noticed something else in the image that I somehow missed at first. In the bottom corner of the mirror, you could see Ethan, not in the reflection, in the actual room, standing behind the figure, like the mirror was showing something that hadn't happened yet. I drove to Ethan's apartment immediately. The police were already outside when I arrived. One of the officers stopped me before I could enter and asked how I knew him. That's when I found out Ethan had died earlier that evening. Apparently, he fell from the fire escape outside his apartment. The police called it an accident, but there was something they couldn't explain. According to his neighbors, right before the fall, Ethan had been screaming at somebody inside his apartment, telling them to stay away from the mirrors. I felt sick hearing that. One officer eventually let me inside to identify some belongings. The apartment looked wrong the second I entered. Every mirror inside the place had been covered with blankets. Bathroom mirror, bedroom mirror, even the microwave reflection had been taped over, like Ethan had been trying desperately not to see something. That's when I noticed the camera sitting on the kitchen table. Beside it was a freshly developed photograph that was still slightly wet. The second I picked it up, my entire body went cold. It was a picture of me sleeping in my bedroom, taken from the corner near my closet. The angle was impossible. Nobody could have taken it from there without standing inside my apartment. But the worst part wasn't me sleeping. It was the mirror beside my bed, because in the reflection, my bedroom door was open, and standing in the hallway outside was Ethan, or something pretending to look like him, tall, motionless, one hand pressed against the wall, smiling directly into the room. And behind him, deeper in the darkness of the hallway, that same figure was standing there, watching both of us.